No two people are the same, and neither are their bodies. Today, I'm going to show you how to tailor some of my favorite exercises to your specific needs, making sure that your exercise routines are comfortable and enjoyable. It's not uncommon to experience knee pain when performing squats and lunges. However, with a few small tweaks, we can oftentimes make these exercises more comfortable, more enjoyable, and of course, that means you're more likely to be willing to do them. Let's talk about some of those items that you can adjust. First is depth, so the range of motion of the exercise. With a lunge, you can determine how far you drop down. I often suggest that beginners or those with knee pain begin by just going a quarter of the way down. Then, as they progress, they can go deeper into the motion. Similarly with a squat, starting with a quarter squat and progressing to a fuller, deeper, full squat. Next, knee placement is important. With either exercise, a lunge or a squat, you're going to want to make sure that those knees don't go past the front of your toes. This often helps with knee pain. When doing a lunge, that means making sure to bend both knees at the same time, front and back. Also making sure that the stride length is appropriate for the depth of squat you're doing. Notice how if I take a short stance here, but go down deeper, that front knee now jumps over those toes. This goes for squats as well. You're going to want to make sure as you get into your squat that you're pushing your hips back while keeping your chest up, making sure that the weight of your body begins to shift toward the back of your foot. Squat down and raise up. If you're not shifting your hips back, you're going to find, yep, you guessed it, those knees go over those toes, often placing more pressure than what's comfortable on them. Last up, you can use support. So in the beginning, again, or if you experience pain, a chair can be used to help relieve some of that pressure and weight. Also, a wall can do the same thing. Good luck. I hope these tips help you with your knee pain, and I hope to see you out there exercising. It's not uncommon for me to hear about people experiencing wrist pain when it comes to exercise, especially when we're talking about exercises like high planks, push-ups, even using dumbbells. However, there are a few small tweaks we can make to make these exercises more comfortable and to make you more likely to do them. Let's start with talking about grip when using dumbbells. We always want to make sure that your wrist remains straight throughout the exercise. It's not uncommon for me to see people's wrists bend backwards, oftentimes because whatever dumbbell they're using is heavier than they can lift with good form. So that's the first thing to consider. Are you using the right amount of resistance for you? Next, try making sure that your wrist remains straight throughout the exercise you're performing. Now here I'm doing a bicep curl, but this goes for any exercise, whether it's a chest press, a lateral raise, or any other one. Now, you can also try implementing a neutral grip, or meaning that your palm is facing in toward your body. Oftentimes, this is a more comfortable position for your wrist and will allow you to keep it straight without as much work. Next up, when performing exercises like push-ups or high planks, you can do them with your upper body elevated, meaning your hands are on an elevated surface. This takes some of the weight away from your arms and, of course, your wrists. For example, if I were going to perform a high plank or push-up, I could do so on a surface like my couch. This takes some of the weight off of my wrists, placing it on my lower body. Lastly, try warming up your wrists. Simple things like wrist circles can get the juices flowing, get our joints lubed up, and make sure that we know how they're feeling today and that they're ready to go for whatever activity we bring on. Certainly, it's not uncommon to experience low back pain when you're exercising. In fact, many of us will experience it sometime in our lives. Exercises like deadlifts, squats, shoulder presses, even push-ups and planks can have us feeling a little bit of discomfort in our low back. However, by learning to brace our abs, we can help alleviate some of that discomfort while also preventing future injury. Let's get going. I want you to start with a neutral pelvis, meaning that there's just a slight bend in your low back, but that you aren't tipped too far forward or too far backward. Next, from there, I want you to imagine that somebody's gonna punch you in the gut. Now, I know this sounds terrible, but that motion of tightening up our core actually prevents injury to our spine and helps stabilize our spine, which is so important. As you do that, you'll also notice that it feels like your rib cage is getting tucked down or pulled down. Let's try it together. Tighten up and release. Tighten up and release. Now notice I'm breathing throughout. Just because we're bracing our core doesn't mean we're holding our breath. Let's do it one more time, making sure that you continue to breathe. Tighten up and release. Now, of course, as you do this, you'll want to adjust the amount of bracing based on the activity you're doing. So if you're using more weight or really heavy weight or moving with a lot of force, you're going to want to brace more than if you're lifting a lighter weight or moving at a more relaxed speed. I know for a lot of people, getting on and off the ground can produce anxiety and be so uncomfortable that there's certain exercises they just won't do. But there are a few things that we can do so that we don't have to get on the ground, but we can continue to do the exercises that are both effective and that we enjoy. My first suggestion is to consider using an elevated surface. Now, of course, a bench like one you would find at the gym is ideal. However, in our homes, we can use things like a firm couch or a firm bed in place of a bench. For example, to do a chest press, I can use my nice firm couch here. Just bring my feet up so that my body and my feet are completely on the couch and go into my chest press exercise. You can also use a firm couch or bed or even a chair as long as it's sturdy and it's not going to slip out from underneath you to do exercises like planks or push-ups. Let me demonstrate. In a plank, I'm just going to place my forearms, my elbow right here onto this nice sturdy surface and walk my feet back. That allows me to do a plank definitely without getting onto the ground. But don't forget, you can also do many of these exercises from a standing position. I'll demonstrate using a virtual wall. So here in my virtual wall position, I'm going to do a push-up by placing my hands out against it, walking my feet back, keeping my core tight, and going into, my push-up exercise. No floor required. Next up, other exercises like cat-cow can again be done in a standing position without using the floor. And in fact, they can also be done using an elevated surface depending on your flexibility and the height of the chair. For many of us, high impact activities are uncomfortable. They produce a lot of joint pain. But that doesn't mean we have to stop doing the exercises that we love. By keeping one foot on the ground at all times, we can take out some of that impact and continue doing the exercises we enjoy. For example, let's look at a jumping jack. Pretty high impact, but by keeping one foot on the ground throughout the exercise, we take out that high impact action and still get to do the movement pattern that we enjoy. The same goes for something like skaters. which often include this lateral leaping maneuver. But by keeping one foot on the ground at all time, we still get to move in this lateral position, still get the cardiovascular benefits without the extra impact.